1974 Topps Football Cards, 12 Most Valuable. When collectors started ripping open wax packs of 1974 Topps football cards that fall, they were plunged right into the depths of the modern gridiron world. It all started with a basic card design, which featured a full-color player image framed by a goalpost that extended to the card bottom. On either side of that bottom post were the player's name and position, and below all that was a simple box with the team name. Photos range from posed waist-up shots to stage passing tableaus to gritty in-game action. And with a whopping 528 cards, this set offered something for everyone. Retiring legends, in their prime superstars, and up-and-coming rookies who would roam the NFL fields for the next decade or more. But among all the joys of 1974 Topps football cards, these 12 have emerged as the most valuable, as determined from prices for PSA 8 copies listed in the PSA Sports Market Report price guide. See our description for a link to see current prices. 1974 Topps Ray Guy Rookie Card, number 219. It may have seemed strange to Raiders fans when Al Davis and John Madden selected a 23-year-old punter with their first pick in the 1973 NFL Draft, but it's hard to argue with results in retrospect. In a 14-year career, Ray Guy helped the Men in Black win 3 Super Bowl rings, and he still holds the record for the most postseason punts with 111. Guy was almost synonymous with the 1970s Raiders, and he was elected to the Hall of Fame in 2014. 1974 Topps Greg Pruitt Rookie Card, number 110. If you're confused by the idea that the Cleveland Browns featured 2 running backs in the mid to late 1970s, and that they shared the same last name, yet weren't related, and that each reeled off multiple 1,000-yard seasons, well, stand in line, buddy. But here, in the 1974 Topps set, we only have to worry about the older of the 2 Pruitts. That would be Greg, a second-round pick out of Oklahoma in 1973. Before going for 1,000 each year from 1975 to 77, Pruitt spent time on special teams, and he did even more of that work late in his career. In 1983, he led the NFL with 58 punt returns, 666 punt return yards, and a touchdown. Oh yeah, and he added 31 kick returns for 604 yards, just for good measure. 1974 Topps John Hannah Rookie Card, number 383. The early 1970s weren't a great time to be playing for the New England Patriots, but they had a few guys who were working hard to pull the franchise out of their losing ways. One of those was their 1973 first-round pick out of Alabama, left guard John Hannah. Hannah did his part. During his 13-year career, he was an All-Pro 7 times and helped the Pats make it to the playoffs in 1976, 1978, 1982, and 1985. That last year, when they got trounced by the Bears in Super Bowl 20, was also Hannah's last year in the NFL. 6 years later, he took his place in Canton. 1974 Topps Ken Stabler, number 451. The great 1970s Oakland Raiders teams were built on defense, hard hits, and a balanced, gritty offense that featured the likes of Cliff Branch, Fred Biletnikoff, and Mark Van Egan. Ken Stabler was just about the perfect guy to line up under center in this scheme, because he was always improvising and seemed to take advantage of just the right weapon at just the right time. The gambler led the Raiders to a Super Bowl title in 1976 and scrambled his way into Canton in 2016. 1974 Topps Super Bowl VIII, number 463. In January of 1974, the Miami Dolphins squared off against the Minnesota Vikings at Rice Stadium in Houston for all the NFL marbles, Super Bowl VIII in this case. Led by bruising fullback Larry Csonka, who rushed for 145 yards and 2 touchdowns, the Fins picked up an easy 24-7 victory. It was their second consecutive championship and capped a dominant 2-year run that included a perfect season in 1972. Csonka's big performance is immortalized on this 1974 Topps card. 1974 Topps Terry Bradshaw, number 470. For a stretch there in 1974, it looked like Bradshaw's days in Pittsburgh might be numbered, what with losing the starting quarterback job to Joe Gilliam and all. But by season's end, Terry was in the driver's seat, and he drove them all the way to their first Super Bowl title ever. 3 more would ensue before the end of the decade, and Bradshaw became a legend. 1974 Topps, Roger Staubach, number 500. Staubach, on the other hand, spent 1974 smack dab between the 2 rings he won with the Cowboys in 1971 and 1977. In the interim, his steady hand made Dallas a perennial playoff contender, even though they missed out in 1974. 1974 Topps, O.J. Simpson, record breaker, number 1. On his way to the Hall of Fame, O.J. Simpson set all sorts of rushing records. In 1973, a big one fell, as O.J. ran for 2,003 yards to top Jim Brown's previous mark of 150 yards. This 1974 Topps card commemorates the Juice's feat. 1974 Topps, Carl Eller, number 5. Big Carl Eller, 6'6", 247 pounds, was one of the pillars of the famed Minnesota Vikings Purple People Eater defense that propelled the team to 4 Super Bowl appearances in the 1970s. In 1974, Eller picked up a Pro Bowl nod and appeared on this card. 1974 Topps, Joe Green, number 40. Unlike Bradshaw, Green was a key in the Steelers' rise to prominence in the 1970s. Unlike the former Louisiana Tech quarterback, though, Green's 1974 status was never really in question. Instead, he rolled to his 3rd straight All-Pro selection at defensive tackle and even picked off a pass. 1974 Topps, Jim Tyre, number 85. Remember how Len Dawson developed into a Hall of Fame quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs during the 1960s? Yeah. Jim Tyre was the guy who protected Dawson's blindside most of those years, racking up 9 Pro Bowl and 6 All-Pro honors in the process. This 1974 card was issued during Tyre's final season with the NFL. 1974 Topps, Fran Tarkenton, number 12. By 1974, Tarkenton was in the 3rd year of his return stint with the Vikings, fresh off a Super Bowl appearance in 1973, a loss. Another would follow in 1974 and again in 1976, both losses. Tarkenton would end up in the Hall of Fame, though, and a post-football television career further boosted his public image. Like our video? Then like our video and subscribe to our channel. WaxPackGods.com